And we are back again. Welcome back to another episode of Tales from the Stash. My name's Phil, and in case you notice, I do wear a variety of t-shirts. Today, it's this one. I'm a big fan of Chip and Dale when it comes to Disney cartoons. I just like how they drove Donald Duck batty. Anyway, so when I last left off, I was talking about the Kinetic 148 scale Kfir kit. Well, I got the counterpart earlier in the month. I have AMK's C2 C7 Kfir kit. Now this one came around roughly the same year as the Kinetic kit came out. Even though it's the same aircraft, it's a little bit different as compared to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this box open and we're going to find out what's in it. I gotta admit, the box art's pretty unique. Now, AMK is another company out of the Hong Kong, China area, and most of you probably already know the rave reviews about their MiG-31 Foxhound kit. That kit blew a lot of everybody out of the water, and it was a really, really nice kit. But they also did other kits. They've molded the L-29 Delphin, they've molded the Foga Magister, and they also molded this one. This is one of the first kits, and it looks really, really nice. I actually popped open the box, and I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. So, let's get on with this, shall we? On to the kit. Instructions, of course. We'll discuss this a little bit. Here is the wings, which is right here. Now, unlike the Kinetic kit, this doesn't have the options of dropping the flaps. They're all in a neutral position. Once again, if you're not sure, check your references. The gun ports are actually molded into the bottom fuselage itself, and it's actually one piece. There's no extra sprue, so there's less cleaning. Matter of fact, a fellow modeler I talked to, he was discussing about it. Here's the upper wings. Now, the surface texture, much, much smoother. Still restrained. Not as involved as it is on the Kinetic kit, but it's still recessed, still beautiful, and it's still very well done. Matter of fact, it comes with one kind of nose here as compared to the Kinetic kit, which is these two here. Although I could be wrong, I really haven't fished through the entire kit from soup to nuts. However, the layout is a little different on these parts and the way it's set up, but it still does provide the parts for the C2 or the C7 version. Matter of fact, yep, that's the instrument panel for the C7. These are for C7 or C2. Pylons, intakes. This is a little bit, like I said, it's a little bit set up differently. Here is the fuselage. Now, I noticed about the fuselage that all the sprue is actually under here. Another modeler pointed that out. So this makes assembling a lot easier and much less to clean up. So that's good points for AMK. The engineering is well thought out. I like it myself, as I said before. The surface is actually very smooth, so you don't really need a primer. And the detail is actually very crisp. It's much more sharp, and you can actually see it, like I showed you the instrument panel. Here's the ejection seats. This is, I think, which one is this one? I don't remember. I'm gonna have to do my references. Ejection seats. Now they're not as involved, or they're just about as involved as the Kinetic kit. Both of them do require some photo etch if you want to dress up the ejection seats, or you could replace them with an aftermarket. Me, I'm just going to go out of the box, probably make some seat belts out of tape. All right, here's one half of the engine assembly. Here's the wheel. They do the same thing that Kinetic does, except it's a little more involved. As a matter of fact, it looks like the tires actually go around the hub instead of just squishing together. Some vents, of course, some chaff flare dispensers. This is some ejection ports for the, I shouldn't say ejection ports, the ejection pins for the ordnance. Here's the other half, which is right here. The ordnance, however, is not as involved as the, or I should say as extensive as it is in a Kinetic kit, but still, you get a nice setup. Matter of fact, this is the centerline tank here, intakes, cockpit, tail section. There's the mantlet cover for the forward cockpit. However, the landing gear, the main gear itself, the wheels actually have 7 parts, 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is the flame holder, the engine. I showed you the exhaust pipe. Landing gear is very good. It's very crisp, well detailed. So is the pylon. So is the centerline pylon if you want to do the bog rack, which is pretty cool. Matter of fact, there's the instrument for the C2. Let's see. easy. Now, as I said before, however, their fuel tanks seem to be more accurate. I haven't built them. There's the tanks, they're all separate with the pylons included, which is pretty cool. But, as I said before, now here is the bombs provided. This is Mark 82 slicks. You can put these in the middle. Like I said, they don't have the snake eyes, they don't have the rock eyes, but you can always pilfer them from an ordnance set or other kits. But they do have the triple ejector rack for this one. And like the Kinetic, they do have the Griffin 3 laser guided bomb right here. But they also got a cooler bonus. They have the GBU 12 laser guided bomb, which is a nice option, so you go with either or. And that's pretty cool on my part. And the detail, as I said before, the detail's crisp, and you can see it on the ordnance. You can see how well molded it is. This is very well done by AMK. Here's the other half of the Mark 82 slicks. And like Kinetic, they also provide the Kfir 3 dogfight missiles. They provide 2 of them. Now, I will say this before, and I said it in the last video. If you're not happy with the missiles, you can always replace them with sidewinders or anything else, but like everything, do your research. And here's the clear parts. Not as many parts as there is on the Kinetic kit, but still well molded. There's no mold seam, much like the Kinetic kit, so there's no sanding required. A little bit of masking, and you should be good to go. Now, I showed the instructions earlier. The instructions do show they're a little different. They're actually very well done. Glossy instruction sheet. It's a booklet. Personally, I think it's a little too much for my taste, but they're very well printed, very well laid out. They show everything. Painting guide. They show the assembly. Apologize for the glare. It's glossy paper. But it's very well done. You can see it from soup to nuts right here. This is very, very nice. Shows the assembly from beginning to end. Now, the paint guide, like, you want to know what colors paint is for towards the end, as you can see here. And in here, much like the Kinetic C2 C7 kit, they show you what colors to use. You can either do this version, or you can do the other version, which is right over here. Now these have the Rapid Guardian Squadron, and they also have the First Fighters, which are as shown. Here's the decal sheet. Now, the decal sheet, I'm not disappointed, but I'm not too happy about at the same time. I'm still probably going to use them anyway. They're well printed. They seem opaque, and I haven't heard anything bad about them. But they're not as involved as they are in the Kinetic kit, but they're still well done. I do, like I said, once again, I do suggest looking at the research, read everything in the process. But back to the instructions here. Now, the color call-outs they ask for, it's kind of vague. They actually call for Mr. Color from GSI Krios, formerly known as Goody Thank You. Sorry about this, I tend to leave everything out all the time. So it's kind of vague, so you gotta know your numbers. But like the Kinetic kit, you can always cross-reference, so this way you know your colors, you know which ones are which, so it's not that hard. But at least they show everything else. Now, the kit itself, the box, not as big. It's not as involved. There is no intake ducting. But to be fair, are you really going to look into the intake on this kit? I mean, there's less parts, but it seems very well engineered, very well laid out. And as I said before, everything explained in the kit, particularly well done. It's nicely involved. Now, I don't know which kit to recommend, but both of them are very, very good. And in case you wonder what that noise, that's the washing machine and the dryer. My workbench is in the basement, so give me a few minutes here. I'm going to go close the door, and I'll discuss both kits. And that ends that. However, you could probably still hear it, but I don't really care. Both kits are really nice. I do recommend still having putty and test fitting everything before you put everything together, because even though they both look well engineered and they look forgiving, they're still going to require some work. I do know from my experience with Mirage kits, and probably the intakes are not the best fitting, so dry fit everything, try to, if you can, deviate from the instructions for the best fit. Take your time, put them together. And the Kinetic seems to be more ambitious, seems to be more involved. But at the same time, Kinetic has been, from my experiences, limited experience with it. Their F-16 kit's a good example. the fit could be bipolar, so it might be great at one point, it might be horrible at another point. You don't know, but that's up to the skills of the modeler. The surface textures, they're both good. Like I said, the Kinetic kit's more involved, and the AMK, they're both still well done. They're both still restrained. There's no mad riveter, but there's still a lot of work, and I shouldn't say a lot of work. They both seem to be easy to put together. However, it's totally up to you, because both kits look like beautiful representations. I've seen good reviews about both kits online, and I've seen the finished products that look pretty good. If you're not happy with the detail, they do make photo etch sets for either one. Edward, we know they make them. They probably have resin aftermarket cockpits, engines, so that's totally up to you. As I said before, I'm building out of the box. The price really isn't much of a difference, maybe $2 to $5 depending on where you order from or what hobby shop you go to or going online. Sometimes you might be able to get it overseas without the import tax, so they might be a little cheaper. I know I got both of these for around roughly $45 to $50. That's not including shipping. Let's see what else. Detail, I'm gonna have to give it the Kinetic because it's, like I said, it's much more ambitious and involved, but you gotta have the patience. The AMK kit seems more ideal for the beginner. It goes together well. Decals, both of them are pretty good, but if you don't feel comfortable with either one of them, like I said before in the last video, you can always go with aftermarket decals from Isra Decals. As far as I know, they're the only ones that really make a Kfir kit. Decals, I mean. Yeah, I'm talking funny today. But it's great because it's nice to have two new Kfir kits, because for a while, the only one that was available before was the old SD kit, and it really wasn't that great, and it really wasn't accurate like this was. To be fair, though, SE was simple put together. That's what it was. That was more of a super detailer project. Or if you didn't feel comfortable with that, you could always get a resin conversion set, which they do make, and they probably still make them on occasion. It's good luck trying to find the kits that are meant for that. I'm trying to think of what else here. But clear parts are both great. Like I said, the surface textures, the fit seems okay. It's totally up to you. It really is. Everything I do, since I use acrylics anyway, I use a primer coat in my case. With the AMK kit, you could probably get away with enamels unless you have a multicolored problem. Ordnance, you can probably mix and match. Like I said, you can swipe ordnance from other kits if you don't feel comfortable with it. Skunkworks makes Israeli defense weapons, a weapon set. I got 1 and 2 in the back there somewhere. I may use that. Who knows? Eventually, I am going to get to them. And as I said before, which one do I recommend? Be honest, it's totally up to you. It's your decision. If you want to be more involved with the project, you can go with the Kinetic. If you just want to put something on the shelf that looks really nice and it's accurate as is, you can go with the AMK. Either way, it's totally up to the modeler to decide. But I do give the edge to Kinetic because their decals are more involved, they're more researched, everything seems to be more accurate. However, I could be wrong. And they do have correction parts in their C1 F21 kit if you want to replace them. This is all I got for now. Next video, I'll dig something out, I'll find something. So, and I'll probably share it with you, who knows. So, this is all I got. Happy modeling, take it easy guys, and I will talk to you again soon.